Hello, everybody. Welcome back to that location. I wanted to touch some on a topic that my wife and I were kind of like dealing with. That's this right now. She's in the process of becoming a Dominican citizen, and a lot of times when we saw, you know, how it was described, it was like, okay, well, that seems pretty easy, but it's not as easy as it may be presented to you. So my wife, when she became a resident, basically a permanent resident, green card holder here in the Dominican Republic, that was a whole process through immigration. And she had to provide. So my wife was born in Guyana, and when she was small, she moved to the U.S. She's a U.S. citizen, and now she's basically trying to become a Dominican citizen. And when she moved, and when we were going through the process, she had to bring, basically all her documentation, U.S. citizenship, and we learned this little word called apostille. I had never heard of that. Basically, apostille is basically an agreement that a bunch of countries have entered, and once a document has that seal, the other countries will accept it as to be, authentic. So my wife went ahead. She's renewed now for 5 years on her green card, basically, as a permanent, as a resident. Now we're in the process of her becoming a citizen, and we thought it would be easy. We own property here in the Dominican Republic. We just recently retired. We have decent income, and I saw the requirement, which is $1,500 for our Dominican residency, and I'm not trying to like act like we have a lot of money, but we make way beyond that in our retirement. And I'm Dominican, so I thought, okay, she's married to me. We've been married over 20 years, so the process shouldn't be that hard. And we started looking into it, and we decided the list is so long of the documents that they ask for that we reached out to an attorney, a law firm, and they basically are working with us for her to get this process done. And right now, as I speak, my wife is in Guyana, and she hasn't been there. She was like maybe, I don't know, like 10 years old. She had to travel to Guyana to get a birth certificate, apostille. She has to get a passport from Guyana. She also has to get a police background, basically saying that she has no prior incidents or anything like that, and that also has to be apostille. So now, not only are we dealing with a lawyer here, but we're also dealing with a lawyer in Guyana. The lawyer here, the total process, it seems to be about approximately 5,000 US, where they do some of the work. Another thing she has to do is basically she has to go back to the U.S. and do this interview to obtain an apostille certified copy of her U.S. citizenship naturalization certificate, and also a background check that also has to be apostille, which somehow you can actually get it done here in DR. If you don't want to go there. But the interview for the certified naturalization certificate, that has to be done in the U.S. So she's waiting an appointment for that in the U.S. But meanwhile, she also went to Guyana to get the rest of the paperwork. And I also was able to get some friends of mine and get our marriage certificate. We got married in Washington, D.C. to get that apostille as well, and then be mailed over to us here. It's a list of documents. So here's some of the stuff that we basically have encountered. Carta de solicitud. So basically, it's a letter basically to the executive powers president of Dominican Republic, asking for citizenship. Then also some photographs, 2x2, basically passport style photographs. A curriculum, basically, I guess, is stating your background, birth certificate, which also has to be apostille. Photos of your passport in color. So my wife at this point, she would have to bring her Guyanese passport, which she's getting. She hasn't had a passport from Guyana in forever, and now so she has to bring a passport from Guyana, get also and passport from the U.S. She does have a cedula here in Dominican Republic, which according to this list here, has to be up to date and valid. Marriage certificate has to be apostille, which we have right now. Can be no longer than 6 months old. No priors. This is here in Dominican Republic, so we have to certify she has no priors. Well, actually, it has to go back 3 months. It cannot be older than 3 months. I'm sorry. A certification that she has no priors. She also has to have another certification with immigration. Another certification of her migratory movement, basically certifying that she's traveled back and forth. Also, you have to publicize this in the newspaper. So they want a receipt that you are putting this out there in the newspaper. I guess if anybody wants to challenge it. A letter from your employer. We're both retired now, so basically a letter where you live at and that sort of stuff. A letter certifying basically, how you make your money, where you get your money from. Basically that the government is not going to be taking care of you. A birth certificate, like I said before, this has to be apostille. If you own a vehicle, they want a copy of your registration. My wife does own a vehicle here in the Dominican Republic. Also a guarantee letter, basically from me, I guess. I can do it. Guarantee, that, if she does something, I'm gonna be there to speak up for her on her behalf, and show face. They have to do a background check. She has it says on here, there's a test, there's an exam, there's an interview as well. They have to take your fingerprints and basically a decree from the president. That's basically, it looks like, but the immigration does the green card. This is done through the police department here in the Dominican Republic, the naturalization portion. So it's not as easy as sometimes we may think it is. My wife, according to the Constitution here in the Dominican Republic, she's entitled to being naturalized because she's married to me. But it's a whole process. And I just want to kind of put it out there that if you have a significant other that you love and the plan is for them to move down here to the Dominican Republic and be here legally, because after they say 30 days, but it's really after 29 days, if you don't have a cedula or residency card, and you have to have the residency card to get the cedula, you have to pay taxes when you leave the country. And then what happens is, basically it's a violation. If you're in violation, then this causes problems when you are applying for residency, citizenship. So there's a whole process. Is constitution-wise, it doesn't come across as that difficult, but all the rules that are implemented they make it seem even harder. So, it's my wife calling right now, and she's in Guyana. I'm gonna put her on speakerphone when she's calling and just ask her how it's going.
Hey there, how are you?
Hey, babe, I'm actually doing a video right now about your travels to Guyana. How's it going? I got you. I'm recording live. How's it going?
Oh, okay. It's going well, thank you. I just got and the weather's beautiful and yeah, a lot of really nice things to see, a lot of development. So yeah, it's awesome.
Okay,
No
cool.
complaints.
Yeah, so I'm just talking about here about all the stuff, all the paperwork that we have to get and everything. And you're over there for like you're gonna be over there 14 days trying to get all this paperwork.
Yes, yes. I'm hoping that I can get it earlier than 14 days, but that's what we projected 14 days. So hopefully everything will be done and done quickly. So yeah, and then in the interim, I'll get a chance to go see the country, take pictures, and send them to you so you can see it for yourself.
Okay, okay. Um, yeah, I wish you the best. I wish I could be there with you, and hopefully when you come back, you have all the documentations so we can move on with the
Yes,
next step.
yes, I look forward to that.
All right, cool, cool. I'll
All
talk to you
right,
in a little bit. All right, love you.
take care, love you, bye bye.
All right. So, I mean, I'm frustrated to some extent, but to some extent, I understand. You have to basically check people's backgrounds. You got to understand where they're coming from and that sort of stuff. So you don't want people kind of like going through the cracks. My belief, I thought it was going to be a lot smoother, a lot easier, especially you know, she has a really good background in the U.S. and we've never been in trouble with the law or anything like that. So I was hoping that the process would be a lot smoother, not as expensive. Now you can do a lot of this on your own, but I'm telling you right now, it's a process that's very difficult if you do it on your own. We had our first process we did when my wife got a green card. We had a cousin of mine who's actually NYPD and he's been down here in DR for a few years on a detail, love him to death. And also another police officer he's actually an inspector now with the police department. And they helped us. They helped us a lot. And if they didn't help us, I think that we would have been so frustrated in getting that initial process for my wife done that we probably would have given up. We got a friend that he's been living here in the country for like almost 20 years and he doesn't have status just because he never really looked into it. So every time he leaves the country and comes back, he has to pay all these taxes and that sort of stuff. And I understand to a certain extent he feels like he's being profiled sometimes, but if you don't have the legal paperwork that you should already have been taken care of, you know, you can't really question the process. So it's a long now. For my kids, it was easy. It was very easy. My kids basically, because they have my blood, I'm Dominican. They are entitled to citizenship, and the process is a lot easier. Basically, you translate their birth certificate. They were born in the U.S. in Spanish. You bring it into La Junta Central, which they're the ones that basically are entitled are giving out the IDs and that sort of stuff with my birth certificate. And then my kids basically are like, oh, okay, cool. They're Dominicans because they're your kids. And it wasn't that big of a deal with them. But my wife, this has proven to be a process. So wish us luck, and we can't wait to get past this process to move on so my wife can, be here as a full-on citizen, not just a green card holder, and move on. She loves this country. It was actually her idea to move here. I love this country. I was born here. So we are just looking forward to getting this behind us, but we got to go through it. And I encourage anybody that's in the process to just go forward. It's going to be a lot of stupid roadblocks. The Dominican government moves very slow, a lot. If you're used to dealing with the U.S. government, it's like, dealing with government employees and stuff, it's very hard. Dealing with employees in the Dominican government is way harder. It's a totally different animal, but just push through. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, You know, if you're entitled to it, they have to give it to you. My wife, I know that she will get it. It'll be a very happy day for her, a very happy day for me, and it'll be behind us, just like when she got her green card and cedula. So listen, if you're in the process of getting somebody that you love or somebody that you're with, getting them legalized here, do it the right way. Because without the cedula and that sort of stuff, things become very hard, much harder. So you have to do it the right way. I encourage everybody to go through the process. As difficult as it may be, just go ahead and do it. And it's going to cost you some money, but to me, if you decide that you want to be part of this country, you want to live here, just go ahead and do it. It's a process. You gotta be patient. It's a different way of thinking here in this country. Things move a lot slower. You know what I'm saying? Like they say here, see if you're scared. If God wants, are you coming tomorrow? See if you're scared. Wait a minute, hold up. In the U.S., it's like, yo, you coming tomorrow? Yes or no? Here it's like if God wants. Most of the time that means they're coming, but they're holding that little possibility that something may happen. Listen, love you all. Please, follow, subscribe, and let me know what you're thinking. If you're thinking of moving here and being part of this country, I encourage you. Yo, reach out to me. I try to guide you as much as I can. I got some lawyers that I've dealt with or whatever. They're very good, and I can put you on to them, and hopefully you can also become a Dominican citizen. Love you all.